Ideas. They're everywhere. The earliest people on Earth discussed ideas around the fire. People began to make art to communicate ideas. Writing systems were created to communicate ideas. The printing press was invented to spread them. Radio, television, and the internet all came along and spread ideas. Schools were created to teach ideas. So, you spend a lot of time with ideas every day, but not all of them are good, and you already knew that. Maybe you've heard about Tide Pods in an internet meme, and if you haven't, that's not a bad thing. By the time you watch this video, you may be thinking, Tide Pods, that meme is so dead. And that is a good thing. Oh, before we continue, there's an emergency FactBot message coming in. Do not, for any reason, put soap or detergent into your mouth. Don't even pretend to do it as a joke. We feel we have to tell you this because people actually did this, and it did not go well for them. If you feel that your mouth needs cleaning, we recommend toothpaste. Sugar-free gum, mints, and other breath fresheners that are meant to go in your mouth are also good options. A good rule is, don't do dangerous things for views from strangers on the internet. This concludes our emergency FactBot message. Why are we even talking about this? Internet memes are ideas that many people are familiar with. They start from a single source online that often isn't known and spread from person to person on the internet, sometimes going viral and eventually becoming known by millions of people. But did you know the idea of a meme isn't just about internet in-jokes? The idea of a meme is older than the internet. It comes from the word mime, meaning to imitate. Memes are ideas that are spread, whether or not we know where these ideas came from. Culture, knowledge, religion, beliefs, and language are all memes. They can be small or big ideas. Memes are alive when people still use and spread them, and die when they're no longer used or spread. Any meme can be spread. For example, you probably have a family recipe that has been used and taught for generations. But ideas that are false, unfair to others, and even dangerous are also spread in similar ways. While you know your family's dumplings, pierogies, ravioli, greblock, momos, empanadas, samosas, gyoza, and or Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts? Okay, Pop-Tarts are all good things, and it's pretty clear that eating soap is a bad thing. Not all ideas that are commonly found are that easy to judge. What might cause a bad idea to spread? What makes some bad ideas appeal to many of us? Why might someone spread a bad idea? How do we figure out which ideas are good and which are bad? Let's have a look at an example we know isn't true from a few years ago. In the year 1999, there was the Y2K problem. Y2K is short for year 2000, and this problem was about fixing a bug in many computer programs. Computers used to use two numbers, the last two, in their coding for the year in dates. So 1989 would have just been written as 89 in the old code. The problem was that after 1999, the dates in the old system would go from 99 to 0. And since 0 is less than 99, the bug in the code could tell the computer that it had gone back in time to the year 1900. This could have caused all kinds of problems for computers, And considering how much of our lives are affected by computers, this was a big but solvable problem. This problem also had a rather boring solution, which was for companies and governments to get programmers to fix the code. And so, everyone understood the problem and the solution, and nothing interesting happened. No, wait, there were some odd things that happened. While the year 2000 was approaching, some people thought that was a very significant number. Some people believed that electrical power and banking systems would fail, and hoarded supplies and built shelters to survive that. There are stories of people spending New Year's Eve in front of ATMs, hoping they would spit out free money. People paying for Y2K software checks on things like washing machines that didn't even have any software in them, and people preparing for riots in bunkers. Other people thought that Y2K meant the end of the world. Yes, literally, the end of the world. It's now well past the year 2000, so this shouldn't be a spoiler. That great disaster never happened. How did the idea spread that Y2K would be a disaster? Why did some people choose to believe it, spending time and money to prepare for something that never happened? Let's have a look at some of the factors that caused this. So, the next time an idea like this comes along, you can think critically about it. First, there was money to be made from this idea. This story certainly was news, and there were lots of credible experts that discussed the details of how they were going to solve the problem. The news talks about reactions to events and often tries to represent all sides of a story. So, next to the experts, there were stories about the less than reliable people's reactions. And some of those people had products to sell to prepare for Y2K. While many people thought the sales pitches were amusing, which helped them to get onto the news, some people had other reasons for wanting to believe them. People are naturally biased to believe what they can see where they live and to trust ideas that they agree with, which is called confirmation bias. Even though there are many different calendar systems in the world, the round number of 2000 was considered to be an important date to some people that saw a very big change in the calendar that they saw and used every day. If you live in a place that has a different calendar, this date doesn't look special at all. Another thing about people is they really like to feel special. And being alive for the end of the world, well, that's special. Terrible, but special. While this idea that people like to feel special causes us to think things that are false may sound silly, it has happened often. We're going to borrow an idea from physics, the mediocrity principle, to explain a very famous example of people being wrong because they wanted to feel special. The center of the universe, in fact. We know that the Earth rotates around the sun and that our solar system is far from the center of the universe because science and technology have proven this. When looking at the sky, it can look like the sun and the planets rotate around the Earth, and this is what people believed in the past. Once the actual paths of the planets and the sun's path were observed more closely and technology improved, scientists tried explaining that the Earth was not, in fact, the center of the universe. It did not go well. Galileo wrote about his scientific findings that showed the sun at the center of the solar system and was imprisoned for life for this. He did get an apology, though, 300 years later. So, wanting to feel special is very powerful in how many people understand and believe ideas. While it can be difficult to spot a bad idea, there are some red flags that are clues that an idea may be represented in a way that is deceptive or dishonest. When you spot one of these, you should pause and think more critically about the idea that is being presented. People like feeling they know a secret. Even though memes are somewhat popular ideas on the internet, they're also in-jokes that are only funny to those people that have seen the joke before. Ideas like conspiracy theories, secret societies, and cults appeal to people by letting them in on something that is secret and by telling people a different idea about how systems in the world work. Influencers and leaders develop followings by spreading less popular ideas and then creating a wedge between those that believe their ideas and those that don't. Labeling people outside of their group as sheep or unenlightened and lots of other labels for us and them creates a feeling of, well, it's us versus them. When someone tries to dismiss anyone that disagrees by calling them names, it's a big red flag. When looking at ideas, we also have to ask, why is this idea being shared? Education, entertainment, advertising, or internet clout? Sometimes it's easy to know what the reasons are for sharing an idea, as most ads have to tell you they're ads. But other times it's more difficult, and sometimes people aren't honest about why they're telling you something. And they can use anger and fear to provoke strong feelings in us. When people have influence, it is much easier for them to sell things, and the greater the influence, the more selling power people may have. While buying a t-shirt or mug with someone's name or logo on it is pretty harmless, some of the other things influencers try to sell can mean huge profits for them and aren't always healthy or safe. When someone covers news about a problem, creates fear about that problem, and then happens to be selling the solution to that problem, that is a red flag. Just about any content with products featured in it should raise a red flag because influencers don't always tell viewers when they've been paid to promote something. We call people online that have a lot of followers influencers because they do affect the opinions of a lot of people. As viewers watch and follow others on social media, they can feel emotionally connected to them, look up to them, and want to be like them. While you may never get to meet someone you follow online in person, you can dress like them, eat like them, and buy all of the products that you can afford to try to be closer to them. Even content that's hashtag not sponsored could still have been given to an influencer for free. So, before you buy an expensive item thinking it'll make you similar to someone online you admire, know that they may not really like or use the product at all off camera. It is also possible to say things that are truthful but still argue for something that is wrong. Let's say someone has taken candy from a baby, stolen it really. This is known to be easy, but if it's not your baby, it's wrong. Media may try and give the person that stole the candy a chance to speak in order to be seen as showing both sides, even though that person could say, "What about sugar being unhealthy? Doctors agree that too much sugar is bad for health. More people are getting diseases related to eating too much sugar. It is bad for teeth, so isn't taking the candy a good thing? But wait, isn't the problem about stealing, not about sugar?" Changing the subject, often with a "what about?" That's a red flag. We've only talked a little about critical thinking about media and ideas. And since there is more information created each day, more and more of it needs to be looked at closely. So remember to look out when you see new ideas that try to make you feel special or in on a secret, and that an idea's popularity doesn't tell you if it's a good idea. Think about why someone is creating and sharing information before believing it. And if they use strong emotions like fear and anger, it's a red flag warning you to be even more cautious. When following influencers online, it's easy to feel attached to them. But remember, they're choosing what to show you, and that may not be the whole picture. And even when someone is saying things that are true, if they're changing the subject, that's often a way of distracting and avoiding an issue. Unfortunately, we don't have enough fact bots for everyone, but there's lots of good information along with the bad, so you can find it for yourself. We do have a video, Types of Sources and You, that explains the best way to find all of the best facts. As for fun internet memes, we're pretty sure you can find those on your own, and most of the time, they find you. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us.